not as a lifeless rock floating in space, but as a living, breathing organism, one that shivers with storms, with the oceans, and exhales forests into the sky. Earth isn't just where life lives. Earth is alive. For centuries, humans looked at the Earth as a stage, a static background for the dramas of our lives. But science, slowly and silently, revealed a deeper truth. The Earth pulses. It moves. It feels the rhythms of life. The Gaia hypothesis, first proposed in the 1970s, offered a radical idea: that our planet acts like a single, self-regulating organism. Air, water, soil, and life are not separate. They are part of one complex, interconnected system, constantly adjusting to sustain balance. Volcanoes are not eruptions of violence. They are Earth's heartbeat. The clouds are not passive mist. They are the planet's breath. The forests, its lungs. Beneath our feet, ancient tectonic plates shift and drift, reshaping continents like the slow breath of a giant. And every second, somewhere on this planet, life is born, dies, and transforms again, part of Earth's eternal symphony. This is no ordinary world. This is the only planet we know that knows it exists. At first glance, Earth's early biosphere was anything but vibrant. For nearly 2 billion years, life remained microscopic, silent, invisible, yet astonishingly transformative. Beneath ancient oceans, life began to organize into the planet's first primitive ecosystems, delicate webs of survival, composed of bacteria, archaea, and eventually cyanobacteria. These microbial communities weren't just surviving. They were engineering the world. Cyanobacteria, with their ability to perform photosynthesis, flooded the atmosphere with oxygen. At first, it was toxic to most existing life, but it would soon rewrite the planet's destiny. The Great Oxygenation Event wasn't merely a shift in air. It was a cataclysm that forced life to adapt, evolve, or vanish. Yet, out of this oxygen revolution, more complex forms of life began to emerge. Mats of microbial life formed stromatolites, layered rock-like colonies that still survive in remote parts of Australia today, as living fossils of Earth's earliest communities. These primitive ecosystems were the original architects of balance. Energy flowed from sun to microbe, from chemical to life, laying the foundation for every forest, every ocean, every breath to come. For billions of years, life on Earth remained simple. Solitary cells drifting in the ocean, living in quiet cooperation or silent competition. But then, something extraordinary happened. Around 600 million years ago, some cells began to specialize, to work together, to become something greater than themselves. It was the dawn of multicellularity. No longer limited by the constraints of a single cell, life began to sculpt forms. Tentacles to sense, stalks to anchor, membranes to absorb. For the first time, shape mattered. And then came the Cambrian explosion, an evolutionary Big Bang. In the span of just 20 to 25 million years, life diversified into a staggering array of forms. Creatures with shells, legs, eyes, and teeth. Trilobites crawled the seafloor. Anomalocaris hunted with alien precision. Sponges filtered water like living engines. The oceans turned into arenas of survival and innovation. It wasn't a slow crawl. It was a revolution. Life wasn't just surviving anymore. It was experimenting, thriving, evolving at breakneck speed. And beneath it all, Earth nurtured the chaos. Volcanoes rumbled, Continents shifted, but in the warm shallows and deep trenches, the living world exploded in complexity. This was no longer a lonely world of microbes. This was the beginning of Earth as we know it. The Earth had entered a new era. A world teeming with forests, swamps, and rivers that pulsed with the rhythm of life. Towering ferns stretched skyward. Giant insects buzzed through thick canopies. And then, from the depths of evolution, emerged the masters of this realm, the dinosaurs. For over 160 million years, they reigned across the planet. Titans like Argentinosaurus roamed ancient plains. Raptors hunted with terrifying intelligence. Pterosaurs ruled the skies, while massive marine reptiles patrolled the oceans. It was a planet sculpted by giants. But the age of dinosaurs was more than just dominance. It was a time of balance. Between predator and prey, between land and sea, between survival and extinction. And then, one day, the sky fell. A 10-kilometer-wide asteroid struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. In a matter of hours, the world was changed forever. Fires swept continents. Ash choked the skies. Sunlight vanished. Photosynthesis collapsed. Over 75% of all species vanished, including the dinosaurs. It was Earth's fifth great mass extinction. But even in this catastrophe, life found a way. From the ashes, mammals began to rise, small, warm-blooded, adaptable. The stage was cleared. And once again, Earth, bruised but not broken, became a canvas for new life to emerge. Extinction was not the end. It was transformation. From the ashes of extinction, a new force emerged. Not a beast of scale or strength, but one of mind. Humankind. Our ancestors first walked under the African sun over 300,000 years ago. They were wanderers, guided by curiosity, driven by survival. Slowly, step by step, we spread across deserts, mountains, and oceans, carrying with us stories, fire, and dreams. With fire, we tamed the night. With tools, we shaped the land. With language, we built memory. With imagination, we created the future. We planted seeds, raised cities, carved gods from stone, and painted galaxies on cave walls. In a cosmic blink, we went from prey to apex, from whispering around campfires to launching machines beyond the stars. But as our power grew, so did our impact. We reshaped rivers, moved mountains, burned forests, melted ice. We turned nature's balance into a machine of production. We did not conquer Earth. We rewrote it. And now, the age of humans, the Anthropocene, is both miracle and warning. We are the first species to change the planet knowingly, and perhaps the last to decide its fate. We live in a time of paradox. Never before has humanity been so powerful, so connected, so creative, so capable. Yet never before has Earth been so vulnerable. We are 8 billion strong. We speak thousands of languages, live in towers that kiss the sky, send satellites beyond the moon. And yet, we choke the oceans with plastic, dim the stars with smog, and warm the air with invisible fire. Every second, we lose a forest the size of a football field. Every year, we watch thousands of species vanish forever. And our climate is unraveling before our eyes. But this is not the end. Because alongside the crisis, there is awakening. Voices are rising, young and old. Movements are growing. made not of violence, but of vision. Solar cities bloom in deserts. Winds are harvested like wheat. Reefs are rebuilt, rivers restored. Technology, once part of the problem, now becomes part of the cure. And the most powerful force? A shift in our story, from owners of Earth to stewards, from consumers to caretakers, from conquerors to guardians of the only home we've ever known. For 4 billion years, Earth has been a silent teacher. Her language? Patterns, cycles, balance. The forests teach us patience, growing tall over centuries, yet never in haste. The oceans whisper resilience, enduring storms, shifting tides, yet always returning. The coral reef thrives not through strength, but through cooperation. Even the tiniest fungi underground connect the mightiest trees. Everywhere we look, nature teaches one core truth. Survival is not about domination. It's about harmony. No species, no matter how powerful, survives alone. Every living being is part of a great breathing network. And when one thread is pulled too hard, the entire tapestry trembles. Nature teaches moderation, not greed, diversity, not uniformity, interdependence, not isolation. And perhaps the greatest lesson, nature never wastes. Everything transforms. The fallen leaf feeds the soil. The dying star births new worlds. Even death becomes life. So what does this mean? For us, it means we must stop seeing ourselves above nature and start seeing ourselves within it. We stand at a crossroads. Our planet is heating. Species vanish daily. Forests fall. Glaciers melt. Oceans choke on plastic. We've entered the Anthropocene, an era where human choices shape the fate of the Earth. But here's the truth. The Earth does not need saving. We do. Earth has survived fire, ice, asteroid impacts, mass extinctions. She will endure, with or without us. So the real question is, can we save ourselves by saving what sustains us? It starts with awareness, with listening, not just to data, but to the silence of dying forests. Not just to numbers, but to the cries of the last wild animals. Technology is not the enemy. Greed is. Progress is not the problem. Disconnection is. We must reconnect to the soil beneath our feet, the food on our plates, the future we borrow from children. The planet is speaking. Will we answer? Hope is not naive. Hope is defiance. In the face of collapse, it says, determined. We can rebuild. Everywhere seeds are being sown. Children planting trees instead of scrolling screens. Scientists decoding coral DNA to save the reefs. Farmers reviving ancient methods in harmony with the land. Communities shifting from consumption to connection. Calmly. Hope doesn't need everyone, just enough. Enough people to believe. Enough voices to rise. Enough hands to act. It begins with one step. One voice, one choice to live differently. We've altered the earth, thoughtful. Now, we can alter ourselves. Imagine this. Dreamy. A planet where cities breathe, where rivers run free, where technology and nature no longer collide, but collaborate. This is not a fantasy. It's a decision. The future is not written. It is planted. It is nurtured. And if we choose, it can thrive. Listen. Can you hear it? Not the noise of machines, not the chatter of markets, but something older, deeper. A heartbeat beneath the soil, a whisper carried by the wind, a cry beneath the waves. I was here long before you. I cradled you in forests, fed you from oceans, warmed you under my skies. I asked for nothing, only that you remember you are part of me. But you forgot. You built cities on my skin, drilled into my bones, burned my breath, poisoned my veins. Still, I did not turn away. I gave you one more sunrise, and another, because I believed you would listen. Even now, I am speaking. In melting ice, in rising seas, in burning forests, in skies too still. I am not angry, I am not vengeful, but I am changing. The question is not, will Earth survive? The question is, will you still belong to it? We began this journey from stardust to cells, from oceans to forests, from silence to symphonies of life. We saw creation, destruction, rebirth, and we saw the fragile thread that connects it all, us. A single species who learned to shape rivers, touch the stars, split the atom, and risk everything. Earth has endured 5 extinctions, ice ages, firestorms, impacts from the cosmos, and now it faces something different, us. But there is hope, because in the chaos, we are also the only species that can choose. We can build walls or bridges. We can take or give. We can look at this world not as a resource, but as a miracle. Because it is. A pale blue dot floating in infinite black, breathing life into the void. A place where atoms sing, where time remembers, where meaning is born. We have one chance, not to dominate, but to belong, not to survive, but to become worthy of this world, of this chance.